Oh, I know. I am telling you the truth. I swear on a stack of Bibles if I had one, and I don't swear. I am telling you the truth. I did not know that we had that box there. I did not know.
And it was found where?
It was found in our closet, underneath where he keeps his shoes and stuff. I did not know it was there. You should have seen the dust on it. I did not know it was there. And Randy, here's the thing. Randy does not sell without giving everything.
Exactly. Gun people do not sell a gun with just the gun. They sell the magazines and everything that came with it. Now, Glock, at the factory, they fire test rounds and they keep a couple shells and it goes in the box. It goes with the customer. There were no shells in that box. Do you know what happened to them?
No, I don't. I have no idea. Was it? Did they get it out of the gun case downstairs? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the box itself.
Oh, no, I don't know.
The box. There were no shell casings that normally come with the box when the gun is sold or bought.
I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. I don't know.
You see, when I got detectives that say it looks like she's obstructing us from finding the box, and then when we actually find the box after you've been upstairs alone for a few minutes while they've been sent downstairs,
I wasn't upstairs
now
alone.
the shell casings, huh?
I wasn't upstairs
Well,
alone.
there was a couple people with you, right?
I was in my...
The pastor, David Love was there, wasn't he?
No, I don't think so. He wasn't there that day. I don't think.
Check the reports, but I thought they said David
Well,
Love
he
was
might have
one
been
of
in
the people.
He might have been in the living room.
Okay.
But I was in the bedroom with my attorney, Mrs. King, I think, was in there. I don't remember who else was in there.
We don't need to beat that to death. But I'm telling you, this is why people think that you had more involvement in it than what you were disclosing. You add all that stuff up together. When you add all of that kind of stuff up together, and then you throw this stuff in, when you throw all this in, it doesn't look good, Teresa. It doesn't look good at all.
I did not.
It looks like nobody's saying that you came up with this idea. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that you planned it. Nobody's saying that you're the mastermind here. Nobody's saying that, okay? I want you to know that. But people are saying that at some point when this decision was made, that Randy had to die, when that decision was made by somebody, Teresa was brought into it and she did not stop it. Matter of fact, she made herself unavailable for the whole afternoon to make sure she wasn't going to be in the office.
I did not.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do, but I did not. No, I did not. I did not want my husband to die.
Even your actions at the scene seem suspicious. The fact that you didn't tell the dispatchers that your husband had been shot, even though you knew he had been shot,
I wasn't sure.
That is a red flag.
I wasn't sure. I did not know for sure.
You were sure when you talked to your mom.
I told her that I thought he had been shot because I have watched enough TV.
But you didn't tell the dispatchers that. You didn't tell the police that. All right? I'll be honest with you right now. I mean, we've talked to all kinds of people, and you've been married to this man for 20 years, and he's laying there the way he's laying with all that trauma. And to see that would send most people flying out the door. Flying out the door screaming for help. If nothing else, people, they want to get away from that. They want to get away from that. What did Teresa do? You actually walked over the top of him.
I was trying not to panic.
But you had a cell phone. But what I'm
saying is, your
reactions are just so abnormal. Listen to me. I'm telling you all these little things that people see. People see these things and they say, that doesn't sound like somebody that just walked in and found her, her spouse dead. That looks like somebody who maybe expected to see that when they came in.
not expect to do that.
All these little things. There's a bunch of them that people have pointed out. There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of things. You know? Now, I think you've done pretty good here. I really do. You've told me things here that I didn't expect that you would tell me, but you did. And I'm proud of you, Teresa. I'm proud of you that you have come forward and you've told us what you have.
But you don't
Okay?
believe me.
No, I believe the things that you've told me. I believe that text message. I believe everything you told me about David. I believe that you have had this decade-old long affair with this guy. I believe all that stuff. I want to know that when you walked in there, you really didn't know that your husband was going to be injured or killed.
I didn't. I was just expecting them to be talking or arguing or something. I wasn't expecting anything like that. Not at all.
But you're helping David for the last 20 days you've been helping David by not coming forward. You know, a woman who's lost her husband like that should be burning up my telephone. You should have been burning up my telephone. Do you realize that in the 3 times that you've been talked to now, well, the time that I talked to you last week and today, and I've talked to you on the phone a couple of times, right? Not one time have you said, do you know who the bastard is who killed my husband? Do you know what are you guys doing to find the killer of my husband? I want to know what you people are doing. That's what I get from family relatives on all of our other homicides. That's what I get.
But I haven't
Not
been
once.
taught that way.
Well, I'm not saying you have to curse, but what I'm saying is you have never even asked me, Detective Rosewarren, please tell me you got some news for me. Tell me you got some leads. Tell me you think you know what happened.
Because I'm
But
the
you
type of
haven't.
person who doesn't want to bother people. I don't.
Your husband of 20 years
I
has been
know.
killed.
I know that.
And you're not even asking me how the investigation's going.
Are you kidding me?
It makes
I
me
talk
think
about
that you
it
don't
all
want
the
to.
time.
It makes me think that you don't want to know if we're making progress
I
because
talk
you're
about it
afraid
all
we're
the
going to
time.
find something out. You're afraid we're going to find something out. You should have been burning up my phone about that. If nothing else, I understand why you're afraid, why you're embarrassed about the affair. I understand that. That's normal that you wouldn't want to talk to me about that, okay? But that text message that you got, don't go to the office, urgent, don't go there.
Well, it wasn't on that phone, but...
What happened to that old phone? The one that you had that night?
What, that one?
No, well, when you were
This
here,
is my phone.
we were taking pictures.
This one.
Was that one?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same phone.
Well, you just said that's not my phone.
Well, I was talking about text messages like you just thought I got.
But you didn't even bother to tell us that. You didn't ask me how we're doing. You didn't ask me if we're getting close. And you didn't even tell me that you suspected David Love of being involved in this.
You know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what?
Mm-hmm. I just want to make sure that we're good. We have to be good before we leave this room. Do not help David. This is a bad man. He has messed your life up more than you could ever imagine. He has destroyed your family. He has jeopardized your future. Over what? Because he wants to sleep with you? And he's willing to even do his own wife and kill her? Do you think he won't kill her? If he was part of this, If he in fact organized this assassination of your husband, he will kill again. Don't protect him, and don't jam yourself up.
You know I want to say something else, don't you?
Yes, I know you do, Teresa, and I'm begging you to let me try to help you.
I just want you to know one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I never expected this to ever happen.
I know you didn't. But what did you expect to happen?
I expected him to leave me alone. To leave me alone.
But he didn't.
I can't believe this is happening.
I know.
I really can't. I'm making myself so sick. I'm sorry.
Are you okay? All right. What do you need to tell me? What do you need to tell me?
God help me, please.
No, you need to pray. You need to pray.
Please, God help me, please.
You know what God wants you to do. We both know what God wants. We both know. And we both know that it has to be done.
He told me that Wednesday night.
At night?
He told me that Wednesday evening at the crime scene.
Okay.
That if you guys ask about the gun,
Mm-hmm.
that Randy sold it 3 months ago. I just have a feeling that he took it. I don't know how, I don't know where.
So you think that gun has been gone for 3 months? But Randy's never talked to you about that? Okay.
He told me that.
At the crime scene. If the police ask about Randy's gun, you're to tell them that he sold it 3 months ago. Do you think he sold it to Randy? Do you think he sold it to David?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Listen to me. Okay.
He also told me, and I should have called you. You know what he kept telling me? He kept telling me everything was going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
He took my baby away from me.
How do you know it was him? Did you know it was him before you came into this room? Is that a yes? And how did you know?
I can't believe he did this.
How did you know that it was him before you ever came up here tonight?
You know I haven't been sleeping.
Yeah, I know you haven't. This is tearing you up. This tearing Miranda.
And
This
I'm
tearing
trying to
everybody.
protect a godly man. Supposed to be a godly man. He told me in my room that next day,
Mm-hmm. Courage, Teresa. Come here. What did Teresa, what did he say?
He says, you know, if you tell them that I'm going to go to jail for murder.
If you tell them what? Teresa, if you tell them I'm going to go to jail for murder, but tell them what?
He didn't specifically say.
What was he at? I mean, he must...
I don't know. He just said, if you tell them. He said, if you tell them that I did it, I will go to jail for murder.
If you tell them I did it.
He told me that.
Then why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell us about that information?
I guess I was just angry at him, and I just thought maybe God would just take him away and punish him.
Why did he go to Colorado?
I don't know.
Was that scheduled?
I didn't know they were going out of town.
How about Shelton?
I didn't know he was leaving either. I was gone.
If it was scheduled for him to leave?
Well, he had told me a couple of months ago that he was going to take his wife away for her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that Shelton was going with them. But he wound up going to South Carolina instead.
Did he tell you when he went in there? Did he tell you what happened?
Yes.
What did he say? And if this is probably, of all the things we've talked about, this is probably the most important. What did he say happened?
You want to know what I told him?
Yeah.
I told him, I said, this is not the way God wanted it to be.
When is this conversation? The day after? In your room? Okay.
I was so mad at him.
And you told him that.
It's
not what, yes, if God, because you told him already. If God wanted us together, we would be together. Okay? And then what did you tell him?
I told him, I said, I think I literally told him I hated him.
Mm-hmm.
I told him not to touch me. And he kept telling me it was going to be fine. He kept telling me everything was going to be fine.
Okay. And then what else was said?
He told me he didn't even see it coming.
He said that to you?
Yes, he did.
Did he say how it happened? He just said he didn't see it coming. Did he say that he did it?
He didn't come out and say that he did it.
Okay.
He just said, oh my God.
Teresa? We're just going to finish this. I'm going to get you some water or something, okay? But we need to finish this little part up, okay? What else was said in that room?
That was it.
When he says he never saw it coming, what did you say?
I looked at him and I was like, what? What are you talking about? And then that's when he told me that, he said he walked in the office and he just aimed and didn't even look.
He said he did that?
That's what he told me.
So he said he pulled the trigger?
That's what he told me. He said he just aimed and didn't even look. He just did it. And I walked out of the room and I never talked to him anymore after that. protect him anymore.
Did he say how he got over there?
No.
Did he say what time it happened?
No, he didn't tell me any of that stuff. He didn't tell me anything. All he told me was that. Oh my God.
Do you believe him?
Do I believe him?
Do you believe him?
Yes.
Do you know where he was between, say, noon and 3 or 4? Do you know what his schedule was or anything, where he was at?
Somebody told me he was at a hospital, but I don't know what time. I don't know where. I don't know anything. He told me he even told me he had gloves on.
Okay. Now, as we talk, you keep remembering little things, so I don't want you to forget anything.
I'm just tired of protecting him.
But tell me, let's not, like I said, you just told me about the gloves, so I'm just learning about the gloves. What else do I need to know? Because we're not going to protect him. But by gosh, if he did this, by gosh, you know where he needs to be, right? Okay. But we got to have good, accurate, detailed information. That's why you got to dig in that head of yours.
He told me the gun was 20 miles away.
Did he say where he dumped it? What about the phones? Now, we know you got rid of one phone, right?
He said he ran over his, but I don't know.
Is the reason that you tore up the phone is because of what he said in the parking lot about the gun? You were scared that the phone might implicate you guys? Okay. So he says that in the parking lot, and then by that time your bells or your wheels are turning, right? Because he's telling you, if they ask about the gun, he sold it. You tell him he sold it 3 months ago.
And it is awful. I'm so scared and I'm so upset that my tears won't even come out of my eyes.
It is okay. It is okay. Because, all right, it's okay to be scared. All right. Did he say anything else about where the gun is at? Did he say anything else about anything that would help us?
He didn't tell me where it was at. He just told me it was 20 miles away.
Okay.
And I never asked him. I was so mad and angry.
You're absolutely sure he said he pulled that trigger?
Yes, that's what he said.
He didn't say somebody else did it?
No.
Did he ever talk about when he left, what he did after he left?
What he left where?
The office.
Oh.
Where he went, what he did?
No, I heard from my mom and Kim that he was at a hospital visit or something. That's why it took him so long.
That's why
to
it
get
took
there.
him so long. And we've been told that he was over at St. Joe visiting one of your church people.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
Okay.
After that, I don't know.
Okay. But I guess what I'm talking about is when you were in a room talking, and after he admitted to what he did, did he give any mention about what he did when he left Farmers after he shot Randy?
No.
Did he say where he went, what he did?
No, he did not.
Did he say where he had come from?
No. He didn't tell me any of that.
Didn't tell you any of it?
Nope. He did not tell me anything like that. I don't know. I don't.
Okay.
I guess I didn't want to know.
Do you think he would have involved anybody else in something like this?
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I knew this man.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I knew him.
I'm going to ask you something, and I don't want you to take it wrong, okay? But I don't want you to draw conclusions. But do you think that his son, Shelton, would be involved in this in any way?
I would hope not. He's in enough trouble as it is.
What kind of trouble is he in?
Yeah, I caught drinking and driving.
Got DWI.
Yeah.
Okay.
We found out the hard way.
Randy was not happy about the way it was handled, was he?
I know.
The church kind of paid for all that, kind of covered it up. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, he thinks that Randy and I talked about it. He felt like he should resign.
Yeah. The pastor or
Both.
Shelton?
Both.
Okay.
And I kept praying. I kept praying that God would just let him resign and leave.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I kept praying that over and over again.
Okay. Do they have a very good relationship?
Who?
David and Shelton. I mean, are they, as far as father-son goes, do they seem to be pretty?
I would assume so. Yeah. I mean, they seem in public like they're okay, and
Okay.
I mean, you know, they've been over our house a lot. We've been over their house a lot, so I assume.
I just want to know if sometimes these things are kind of hard to do unless you got somebody acting like as a lookout and that sort of thing. I'm trying to figure out if David would have maybe. Do you think Shelton would be the type that would, even if his dad asked him, or would he say, "Dad, you're crazy. You're out of your mind"? Or would he maybe participate in what happened to
I
Randy?
don't know. He always told me that Shelton was on his side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that meant.
Did
but
Randy, did he ever have face-to-face confrontations or problems with Shelton?
No.
Just the pastor?
Yeah.
He stayed away from Shelton?
Yeah.
Never
He liked Shelton.
he liked Shelton?
No, he liked Shelton.
Okay.
He liked Shelton a lot.
So there was no issues between Randy and Shelton?
Mm-mm.
Okay, all right.
Shelton was also caught in and I don't know if this will help or do anything, but he was caught in homosexual acts also.
Is that at Bob Jones University?
Yeah, I guess you know quite a bit, huh?
We know a lot. We know a lot. So when you get 25, 30 investigators, we run into, we find out all kinds of stuff, but we were concerned, and our concern is that with Shelton getting a DWI and with the allegations of him being gay, with all that stuff going on, if Randy was kind of targeting Shelton, because maybe Shelton might have a grudge against Randy, and that's what I'm getting to.
Well,
Would
if he did,
mhm.
it was never shown in public.
Okay.
Because we used to teach, I mean, we, taught a Sunday school class with him in there, and, no.
Now there were rumors that he was gay, and I guess this is, maybe it's one of the worst kept secrets in the church, I don't know, but would that jeopardize his job in that church? If he were exposed actually, and it became known throughout the congregation,
Yeah.
he would probably lose his job.
Yeah, we
Would
would
David?
ask him to resign.
Would David also lose his job?
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Okay.
Both of them.
Did Randy ever threaten to expose
No.
his suspicions about
No,
homosexuality?
no,
Okay.
never.
Just looking for motive here.
Yeah.
So, you don't think that ever
Randy
came into play? Or was it just David's love for you and his affection for you?
Well, not that I know of. I mean, I didn't think. No, I wouldn't think.
And I'm not trying to put ideas in your head. I'm trying to, you seem like you're being very honest with me right now. So, we have no reason to suspect that Shelton was involved in Randy's murder, but we have to look at everything
See,
right
Pastor
now.
didn't even know Randy knew about Shelton being gay. Oh,
You didn't know?
Pastor didn't know that we knew.
That you guys knew?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I knew.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, Randy and I knew because he shared it with Randy's niece, and they were pretty good friends, and she always attracts homosexuals.
Okay.
So she told us.
Okay. But you all
About it.
were, Randy wasn't threatening to
Randy
go to...
was not that type.
Okay.
Randy was not that type. He would never do anything to hurt Pastor. Why do you think we were leaving?
Financial stuff was part of it?
Well, no, I mean, why we were leaving. We were leaving because Randy did not want to overstep his boundaries.
Okay.
with.
It's your church. We're just gonna
Exactly.
we're just gonna excuse ourselves,
Exactly.
and you guys do what you feel.
That's right. Yes, he would never, ever do anything.
Did you ever see that email that he sent to Pastor?
Yeah, he read it to me.
Okay. Was there mention about the DWI?
Yes.
And how it was handled?
Yes.
But there was no mention about sexuality issues with
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
No, I don't believe so.
I'm gonna get you some water. All right, we're almost done. All right, but let me step outside here and let you think a little bit, and I'll get you some water. All right. we've talked about so much, so I'm just trying to get my thoughts organized. Trying to figure out what we're missing, what we haven't talked about. If there's anything that doesn't make much sense. And it's hard to grasp all of it because we've been here. And we've talked about so much. That's not your fault. I mean, that's just the way these things go. So, when David came up there and asked you about at the crime scene, and he said about the gun, he says, if the police ask you about the gun or something, I sold it, or he sold it 3 months ago.
He told me, he told me to say that Randy sold it 3 months ago. That's what he told me.
Okay, so that implies to me that somebody other than Randy had the gun. Randy didn't have the gun. That would imply that to me.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
And which makes sense because you, like I said earlier, you don't go in there to commit a murder if you don't have a weapon. All right. Which takes us back to that age-old question here: is how would David Love end up with the gun? How would he get that away from Randy? And even more than that, how would Randy, if Randy was missing, I mean, you know how much a gun, a Glock 23? We're talking $500, $600, $700, depending on where you buy it. It's a pretty expensive handgun. So if this gun just disappears, and Randy being the kind of guy he is, I mean, he's a law-abiding citizen. He's going to know if somebody has stolen my gun, probably he needs to report it. Because if somebody uses the gun in a crime, he certainly doesn't want to be tied to. But there's no report to that gun being stolen. I would think that he would mention it to you because you guys are so close. All right. Mm-hmm. Hey, babe, have you seen my Glock? My God, it's not my briefcase. It's not my desk. I turned this house apart. But he never said that to you, as far as what you're telling me. So I'm trying to figure out, how could this gun be gone even for a few days without him mentioning it or reporting it stolen or coming to you to talk to you about it? That's not making a lot of sense to me. This gun really bugs me. How David Love got that, of all people in the world, the church pastor, how in the world he could have gotten his hands on that gun?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. The only thing that he's ever said to me was, Randy has showed me his guns in the gun case downstairs, mm-hmm. in the safe. And unless he watched Randy open the case, you know.
Open the case?
Or open the safe.
Safe?
Yeah. You know.
Uh-huh.
To show it to him.
Has David been in your house with Randy there anytime recently? When was the last time David's been in your house where Randy was there and they would be looking at guns, or anytime recently?
I have no clue. No, I don't think so.
Okay. Because you don't think he could have stole the gun out of your house while Randy was there, unbeknownst to Randy?
Well, I mean, we don't get in the gun safe that much.
Okay, that makes sense.
So,
unless he was going to show him a gun, there would be no reason to open it or anything, right?
No.
Like I said, Randy never.
You know,
I don't think he could have sold it or got stolen it for 3 months without people knowing about it. He must. Do you think he just came up with that number, 3 months?
I don't know. He might have, just to tell me something. Mm-hmm. You know, just to get. I don't know. I really don't know why he just told me, just tell him that he sold the gun 3 months ago. That's all he told me. Because I hardly ever talked to him that night.
I don't think that gun could be gone for 3 months without Randy reporting it stolen. I mean, he might have even called Matt Bruner. He's a Kansas City cop. and he's pretty good friends with him.
Mm-hmm.
He might have said, Matt, what should I do here? My Glock is gone.
No.
But I talked to Matt, and Matt said, I never got a call like that.
No.
There's nothing in our police system that shows it was reported stolen. That gives me reason to believe that this gun probably had to be taken very, very recently, like within a day or so, or Randy would have noticed it. He would have noticed that gun gone. Somebody had to give him that gun. Somebody had to have access to that gun to give it to him for him to have it. He couldn't have had it for 3 months. He just threw that number out there. 3 months. He could have said 2 months. He could have said 6 months. For some reason, he said 3 months. But the fact is, that gun couldn't have been gone for very long. Randy would have noticed that. How in the world could he have gotten that gun? Who would have had access to it to get that gun? And he even admitted to you he had the gun when he walked in.
The only thing, because whenever we would go out of town, he would always, have someone come by and check our house and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
And the only ones that I know of that, even could get into our house was Pastor and Justin and my parents.
Your pastor had access to your home?
Well, because we would have them go in and, take the mail in or the paper or something like that, I mean,
So you have a key to your house?
no,
How would you leave them one when you guys would go out of town?
No, we would just give them their garage door code
Okay.
and they would go in that way.
Have you changed that code recently?
It's been the same for a while.
So you're telling me the pastor had your garage door code?
Well, I know he has given it to Pastor and Justin and my parents, of course.
Yeah.
Only because, we've asked them to, do things at the house while we're gone, mow the grass and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And have to get in the house to get the key to unlock the shed because it's downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how he would get in the case in the safe. I just don't know how he would have got it. I mean, I don't think Randy would have sold it to him without telling me. Well, I mean, he doesn't tell me anything about his guns. Really, seriously, he doesn't tell me not much about his guns because I don't like them, and he knows that. I don't even like it when Michael talks about them. So I'm just sure he would have told me.
Questions about the guns, when we talk about guns, I mean, you seem to be very uncomfortable when we talk about them.
I don't like them. I don't like to talk about them. I don't like guns. I don't like to touch them.
But, it's not like there's a gun in here. We're
Well, I
just
know.
talking about guns.
I'm just
This
saying.
whole line of questioning just seems to make you very uncomfortable and very nervous.
I just don't like to talk about them. I just don't like guns. I never have. But that's the only thing that he told me was just tell him that he sold the gun 3 months ago. He told me that. He just whispered that in my ear, and I just barely caught it because I walked away.
Yes.
Okay.
This is John Howell. He's been working with me on a lot of this, okay? I guess they've got David.
Here's the deal, Teresa.
They got David.
Here's the deal. Detective Rosewarren has done, I mean, he's been 100% honest with you. David's in custody and he's talking. Okay? Right now is your chance, and you probably have about 10 minutes to tell us everything that's going on with this. Because a lot of the things you're saying doesn't make sense. Okay?
About,
You've been on, listen for
I
a
need to
second.
know about what?
Okay? You've been honest, but he's had to drag it out of you. Okay? And
I'm scared.
and we understand that. Okay? But the fact is, David's in custody and he's talking. And it's like Detective Rosewarren said to you, is the first person that comes in and is being 100% truthful is the one that's the winner.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
When did David get the gun? That's the most important thing right now.
I don't know. All he told me is that he had a way to get it. That's all he told me.
When did he tell you this?
It's been a while.
Okay.
It's been several months.
And what exactly was the conversation?
He just told me that I'm trying to think.
Teresa, he doesn't. Our bosses are out there, and they're not very nice. Okay?
I understand.
And when you sit here and you're saying, I have to think about this, I have to think, you know what the conversation is, and I
Well,
understand you're scared.
Okay? All he told me was, all he said was, I have a way to get the gun. I have a way to get the gun. I can make it happen.
Okay?
That's
and
all.
did you say, how do you have a way?
I said, no. I kept telling him to leave it in God's hands. If he wants us to be together, God will put us together.
Okay.
Just leave it alone. I just kept telling him that. I kept telling him that all the time. Just leave it alone. Let God take care of it. If he wants us to be together, we will be together.
Okay.
He told me, he just kept telling me that love will make you do crazy things. He said, I will kill for you, is what he told me. And I said, no, you won't. Leave it alone.
Did you know he was talking about Randy when he was saying this?
I was hoping not.
Well, what did your gut tell you? You're a very smart woman. What'd your gut tell you?
Yes, and that's what I kept saying. Leave it alone.
Sure.
Let God take care of it.
Okay. How did he choose Wednesday?
I have no idea.
Okay. The
I have no
31st.
idea.
Well,
I haven't talked to him in several days.
Okay. Well, what I'm getting at is the day of the murder. You know, Detective Rosewarren's told you that we have two different cameras that cover the business.
Right.
And you leave at 1:31.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you were very adamant about having your alibi down for where you were at, when you made phone calls, and there was a reason for that. Okay?
There was a reason for...
There was a reason that you went to the certain places that you went to, that you're saving receipts.
I had appointments.
Okay?
And Randy and I talked about them. Randy's the one that scheduled my doctor's appointment for me.
Sure.
I wasn't going to go because I didn't need to go, but he scheduled my doctor's appointment for me. And I always go to the bank about that same time, the 31st of every month. I have all my receipts. I can show them to you. That's when we make our payroll every single day.
And this is at what bank?
U.S. Bank.
Okay. But when you look at the totality of everything, okay, you're gone. You know, at first you weren't being honest. And
I understand.
you did the right thing. Okay? Because obviously Detective Rosenborn has a lot more information than what he's sharing. And you look at the totality of everything, that's my biggest question is, how did he pick Wednesday?
I have no idea.
Did he tell you to leave the office for a while?
Nope.
Because there was phone contact that morning.
Yes, I got a message.
Okay. And what did the message say?
It just said, please call me. And I did not call him. I did not call him at all. I told Detective Rosenborn that he told me, I told Detective Rosenborn that I didn't want to talk to him. I told him that I texted him on my way to my appointment, and I told him that I told him he has messed up my life and that I never want to see him again.
And what did he respond?
He kept texting me and calling me, and I never responded.
So what did those text messages say?
Just please call me, please contact me. That's all it was. And he kept calling me and calling me and calling me and calling me.
I'm going to drop you a little hint, okay? Do you understand cell phone technology very much?
Yes.
Okay. Cell phone messages aren't stored physically on your phone.
Right.
Okay, they're stored on servers. And when we serve search warrants on servers, especially AT&T, we can see every text message. And with the track phone, we can see the text messages, we can get the voicemails, which we've done, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's why when he's asking you specifics, he's wanting to see if you're going to be honest,
I understand.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
And there was more conversation than just please call me, please call me.
I'm honest with you. I don't remember, because half the time I did not even read them. I was so mad. I just deleted them. And I'm being honest with you. I was so mad at him. I didn't want to talk to him. I wanted no conversation with him. I wanted nothing to do with him. So I just deleted them. I did not respond to them. I cannot honestly tell you what they said. I honestly cannot, because I did not read them. I just wanted nothing to do with him. So I didn't respond to him.
Okay.
I did not respond to him at all.
There's a slight difference in opinion, obviously, with the records that we have.
Okay. And there may be, because I'm telling you honestly, I honestly do not remember all the text messages that I got from him.
Okay.
I know he called me several times. I know he called this cell phone several times, and I never answered it.
He called that cell phone numerous times.
I know.
Right in a row.
I know. And I never answered it.
But he left a message.
Did he leave a message on that phone?
He did, because there's logs that show he calls, voicemail's left.
Okay.
And then it logs when you call the voicemail.
Uh-huh.
It calls every time, like your phone's sitting here right now,
Mm-hmm.
it's hitting towers, and
Right.
it's reporting your location
Sure.
every second.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we knew you had the 739 number,
Right.
and how we knew you were coming down Truman and everywhere you went.
Mhm.
Okay? He's given you every chance in the world, but like I said, some of this just isn't adding up.
I am trying to remember everything.
So when was this that he told you he had a way to get the gun?
It's been several months ago. It wasn't just recently.
Okay.
And that is honest. It wasn't just recently. It's been a few months ago.
How do you think he had access to it?
I honestly do not know how he had access to it. Like I was telling Detective Rosenborn, we did give them the code to our house to get in, because when we were gone, and we haven't changed it in over a year, and we go out of town a lot. So
When was the last time you were out of town?
with
Prior to the murder?
Argentina?
Yes, Argentina.
And when
We were
was
gone
that?
for 10 days. We left the day after Christmas, the 26th.
Okay.
We were gone for 10 days.
What we're trying to do here is make sure that what you're telling us adds up, because, like I said, they're talking to him right now.
I understand.
And if he suddenly springs, hey, this is how I got the gun, and you're not telling us that, we're done talking to you.
I don't know how he got it. I honestly do not know. I, myself, before God, never, ever touched it. Never, ever gave it to him.
Did you give him the code to the safe?
No, I don't know how we got the code to the safe. I honestly don't know. I know Randy has showed him the gun several times because he's been in our house a lot and he's gone down there with Randy. So I don't know if he stood there and watched Randy open it. We do have it hidden in our house. It's underneath Randy's ties. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
And
how did he tell you he was going to get the? Because he told you I have a way, but how did he tell you?
he did not tell me. He did not tell me how he was going to get the gun.
Did you ask him?
No, I never asked him.
Did you say? I mean, what was your response to that?
My response was, just like I told him, my response was, leave it alone. God will take care of it. If he wants us to be together, he will make it happen.
Did it concern you that he's coming out and he's flat out telling you that he can take care of Randy, he can get him out of your life, he has a way to get the gun. He's telling you, I can get this done, I can get this taken care of.
And I kept telling him all the time, leave it alone.
And I understand that, but did it cause you concern that he's telling you all these things?
You know why it really didn't? Because he's a pastor. And I expect a pastor to be above everybody else, not beneath everybody else.
Sure, but obviously he wasn't on board and he wasn't above board on a lot of the things he was involved in, correct?
Yeah.
And it's just, it seems ironic that you leave, like I said, it was like 1:31.
Yes, my husband and I just got done eating lunch, and I had a chiropractor appointment at 2:00, and I didn't set the chiropractor appointment up.
Sure.
Randy set it up for me. So, and I go to the bank the same day. I left at 1:30 because I had to go by the bank first before I went to the chiropractor's office. After I went to the chiropractor's office, I went to Dress Barn. I
Sure.
mean, I had time to kill before I had to pick up my daughter.
Sure.
I'm not lying to you.
We're just trying to figure out what it was, how this person chose that day.
Yeah, do you know why he did it this particular day?
I don't. He asked me. I have no idea. The only thing I can tell you is when I told you that I texted him and told him that he's messed up my life and I don't ever want to talk to him again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that set him off. He always told me that it's the warrior in me.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that meant, I have no idea. He said it's the warrior in me.
Do you think that, given the opportunity to talk to David, do you think that he would openly talk to you about this murder?
I don't know.
Because you haven't talked to him basically since after the funeral and stuff, right?
No, I mean, I talked to him last night on the phone a little bit, but I was kind of rude to him because I didn't want to talk to him. I was very angry because he had hurt another friend of mine in the church, and I was very angry. So I really didn't want to talk to him.
if, for example, say he gets questioned tonight and then he, let's just say that we let him go home. And say you called him like tomorrow or something, or even later tonight, I don't know. If you were to call him, I don't know if you could, do you think you could get him to talk about this on a recorded phone line?
Sure. If
You
you want
think
me to.
Do you think he would open up? He doesn't know you're here, does he?
No, I didn't call him. I haven't talked to him
Would
today.
he have any knowledge that you've been at the police station since 6 o'clock?
Not that I know of. My parents haven't called him.
How do you know?
Well,
I mean-
because I've been home with them the whole time.
No, what I'm saying is, but you've been in this room for a long time.
Yeah.
How do you know that I guess you'd have
Oh,
to ask them.
I
but
don't know.
You don't know?
I
Do you
haven't-
think they might call him and say,
I don't know.
Okay.
Because they know that I'm upset with him.
Mhm.
So I really don't know if they would call
They
him.
would call him.
I really don't know.
So let me ask another thing that's been kind of stirring, is the day after Randy's murdered, you said that David Love was in your bedroom and tells you what happened.
Mhm.
Was there anybody else standing there when this was said?
No.
Okay,
He made sure that there was no one around.
okay.
He didn't shut the door, but he just made sure that no one was in there.
Okay.
Because my son kept coming in, and
Was
I
this,
wanted him to stay, but he wouldn't let him stay.
were the detectives in the house at the time he said this?
No.
Was this
No.
before or after?
Was it even the same day?
No, I don't think so. This was, I don't even remember what time it was. I think it was maybe 10:30 or 11 when he was at the house.
Okay, the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, he would.
Why did he feel comfortable enough to tell you what he had done?
I don't know.
That's a big admission.
Because I think about how I would react.
Because I told him, when I saw him that next day, I told him, I asked him, I said, well, I asked him, I said, why did you do this? And he said, I was trying to protect you. I said, protect me from what? And he said, from Randy. And then I just walked away. I got mad.
And then how did you get back together where he tells you these details?
Well, I went into my bedroom with my son, and then he comes in and says, hey, I need to talk to your mom for a minute. Would you please excuse us? So Michael left, and I was sitting on the bench, and he knew I was mad. And I didn't say anything. He just started talking to me.
And he tells you all this?
Mhm.
Because I think,
I didn't respond to him at all.
you look at what our normal reaction would be if this had happened to my wife and somebody tells me that. Instantly I'd be angry. Instantly I'd call the police and I'd tell them, this person just said this. What stopped you from doing that?
Because he told me, I told you this. I said, because he told me that if I said anything, that he would go to jail. That he would go to jail. He would be, put in prison or whatever.
Just where he needs to be, don't you agree?
Yes, totally.
Teresa, that doesn't make sense to me. This man just admits to murdering your husband. And you're concerned about him going to prison. I don't understand it. And
I understand.
we're skeptical people.
I understand.
He felt comfortable enough to tell you about this. And you know what my gut's telling me?
What?
Is that you knew beforehand this was going to happen.
I did not.
Okay? And what I'm saying is this. You didn't pull the trigger.
I didn't know anything like this was going to happen.
Maybe you were taking him saying this not seriously, But my gut tells me something caused you to leave the office, to stay gone, and then you're getting these phone calls, you're getting these text messages, you're getting these voicemails. It doesn't make sense.
I was gone for reasons. I had things to do. If I didn't have my appointments, I would have left the office till 3 o'clock.
Okay.
I had no reason to leave early except for my appointments, and that's what I did.
Sure. And we're just trying to help you, because
I know.
if he says otherwise, how is that going to look to us?
The only thing that I can figure is that he was watching me out of somewhere across the street or something, and he knew when I left. Other than that, I have no idea. I have no clue, because I never talked to him, never told him my schedule, nothing. Randy didn't talk to him, and sometimes Randy would talk to him and tell him my schedule and stuff like that, and people don't need to know my schedule. Randy and I are the only ones that need to know my schedule. Sometimes Randy would just talk way too much, and he would tell personal things about us that people didn't need to know. But he didn't talk to him that day. I didn't talk to him that day. I didn't tell him nothing about my schedule. No one knew our schedule that day except for me and Randy.
But your actions, Teresa, and let's just look at this. It's itemized here. We got at the crime scene, the pastor told you to lie to the police. Okay. He told you what he had done sometime during.
Back up, because at the crime scene you get rid of the phone.
You get rid of the phone. He tells you, basically admits to you what he did during the time of, I guess, before the funeral or what have you. These are all actions of somebody who's trying to protect their own rear end. Because, and like again, what we're saying is, this is not somebody who wants to help find a killer. This is somebody who says, oh crap, I can't believe you did that, and you've got me involved in it, and I should have went to the police from the very beginning, but now we have to circle the wagons and hope this just goes away. If we just, your actions speak louder than words today. Your actions tell us this is somebody who was afraid you're going to get in trouble. All right? Not because you would gladly throw him under the bus. He's murdered your husband. All right? And when he tells you that as a grieving wife, you would be more than happy to throw him under the bus. But because you don't throw him under the bus, and because you attempt to protect him, it tells us that you're trying to protect yourself as well. You're trying to. There's two people trying to protect yourselves, David and yourself.
I don't have any.
Teresa, we've worked other cases.
I know that.
Similar to this, where somebody made an admission to the victim's spouse, and you know what they did? They immediately came to the police station. They were blowing up Detective Rosewarren's phone and saying, this person just told me this. Because they were disgusted.
I know, and I should have come to you sooner.
And you didn't do that. And then you come in here today and you're dishonest about your actions. Detective Rosewarren has to pull it out of you.
Do you not understand that I am scared?
Scared of what?
Everybody's scared.
I'm scared. I don't know what he's capable of anymore.
He's not going to hurt you. He's not going to hurt you.
I told you. He always told me. He told me.
Are you scared because you're scared of him, or are you scared of the law? Are you scared what the law might do to you if you tell us the whole truth?
I have told you everything. I have told you everything.
Teresa,
Oh.
Teresa, we're trying to lay this out gently, and I'm going to be very blunt with you. Your actions are not that of a victim spouse. Your actions, and help us understand this, your actions are screaming, I'm covering up what this pastor's done. I've covered up everything we've been involved in. I've covered up these phones. You know, first you're not honest about when you had the track phone. And then you realized, guess what? They knew I had the phone. And once you realize we have the evidence, you're like, I'll go ahead and be honest about this. Everything has had to be pulled out of you. Okay? I know there's more to this. Detective Rosewarne knows that there's more to this. If you want us to help you, you've got to tell us now. We cannot sit here and do this all night.
I told you how I feel. I told you that, I don't know why, but I just like you as a person, and I'm being completely honest with you. I don't want to see somebody else get treated better than you because they just happen.
Teresa, he's held us all back. There's 20, 25 people that have been working on this nonstop. And he's the one that's going to bat for you when we're sitting in the meetings with the prosecutor, when we're sitting in the meetings with all the other investigators. This man's trying to help you. He is your only lifeline right now, but you've got to start being honest.
I am being honest with you. I don't know what else.
The biggest thing, I want to know when David got the gun.
I don't know. I'm telling you, I do not know when he got the gun. I have no idea.
Okay, because it's...
Why don't you ask him?
It's really strange for us that Randy has the gun, carries the gun all the time, and then suddenly it's gone.
I haven't seen that gun in a long time. I haven't seen him carry it in a very long time. He stopped carrying it in his briefcase. That's all I know.
How long ago?
Well, what I was telling Detective Rosenborn, the last time I saw it was in October of last year when he purchased that handgun. That's the last time I saw it.
Okay.
And I don't know what else to say.
When was the first time that it clicked in your brain? When was the first time when it clicked that you thought, I think I've even asked you this question already, but when you really believed that there was a chance that David was capable of doing something, or that he might actually do something to Randy? Because you said they'd been talking about this for quite some time, but was there a point in time when you realized he's getting serious? He's capable of doing something here. Either through his words or his actions. When did it dawn on you? I think this guy's out of his mind. I think this guy could be dangerous.
The day he came in our office.
The big blow up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We've kind of talked about that a little bit, but I don't know if we really got into much detail about how intense did it get? What was said?
Oh, it got pretty intense.
What was said?
Well, he just kept bringing up Randy's past.
Well, start from when he shows up at the office, he walks in the door.
What are you doing? What's Randy doing?
Well, I'm on the phone and Randy's on the phone.
Okay.
We're both on the phone. So he's hanging out in the foyer there for a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I get off the phone, and he comes and asks me, how long is Randy going to be on the phone? I said, I don't know. And Randy knew he was there because he told me later that he saw him walk in, but he was busy on the phone. So he was just making conversation with me, and I didn't want to talk to him. I was too busy. I just had so much stuff to do, so I didn't really talk to him. I just went back and went on to my work. And when I saw Randy get off the telephone, I went in there and I said, "Hey, Pastor's here. He wants to talk to you." And then Pastor walked in, and Randy said, "Pastor, I really don't have anything to say to you. I really don't want to talk to you. There's nothing to say." And then he starts into Randy's past.
What's he saying?
Everything.
What's he saying though?
He starts talking to him about his internet problem. He starts talking to him about emailing other girls and you know, his pornography problem, you know, stuff like that. That was all that was said for a little bit, and Randy said, "That's all behind us. You know, we've gotten over that." And then he said, "Well, you don't know about Matt Bruner, do you?" And Randy's like, "Well, what about Matt? What happened to Matt? What's wrong with Matt?" Mm-hmm. And that's when Pastor told Matt told Randy, and then
What did he tell Randy?
He told Randy that Matt tried to kiss me, and we discussed this earlier about the other things, but I didn't want Randy to know about all that stuff.
Did the pastor tell him that?
No, because he didn't even know about any of that stuff.
Matt said you all kind of started making out and stuff over at your house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did the pastor know about that?
No.
Okay.
No. I never told him anything about that. And then he brought up Brother Goodman, and I was like,
Let me stop you right there. How did you feel when he's sitting here telling your husband about Matt?
I felt, what's the word I'm looking for?
Betrayed?
Yes, thank you.
Because, I mean, it's, from my point of view, you're in this relationship with David Love,
Mm-hmm.
and he's sitting here telling your husband about something that happened with another man.
Mm-hmm.
But he's excluding all the information that's happened with him.
Right.
And so what does he say after this about Matt?
Well, he starts going on about Brother Goodman, and I said, "What are you talking about? What happened with Brother Goodman?" And he starts going on about something that.
What is he saying?
Well, he said that he kissed me, and that he wondered how that would feel, or something like that. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I didn't know what he was talking about. He was bringing up allegations that I never even discussed with him or anything. I mean, I didn't even know where this was coming from. And so Randy was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I don't know." I was getting mad. I was getting furious. And then he starts, and then Randy starts saying, he says, "Well, I think you need to go." And then he starts telling him, he says, "Well, what is it, pride? Is it pride that's bothering you? Is it Aaron Locke's taking over the bus that's bothering you? What is it that's bothering you? You know, there has to be something that's bothering you, or something like that." And Randy said, nothing. He said, I don't want to discuss it right now. He said it. I just don't want to talk about it. And then he said, and then that's when I turned around and looked at him, and I said, "You really need to go." I said, "It's time for you to leave." And
What was his tone? Whose tone? David. Was he talking like I'm talking right now, or was he?
Oh, it was a little bit louder. But, and then Randy told him, he said, "Well, I can't tell you because I don't want to hurt you, you know." And he wanted to tell him about how he felt about his wife and his son, but he didn't, because Randy just wasn't that way. He just never did that. So, and that's when I said, "You really need to leave." And then his wife walked in, and then they left.
Didn't you and the wife have words, though?
Yeah. I told her that she wasn't a very good wife, pastor's wife.
Okay. And that was it?
Yeah, that was it.
What
She walked out, and David
What was
walked
your
out.
reason to get on her case? Did she say something to make you say that to her?
Well, she walked in, and it was kind of rude to me. She says, "I'm not coming here as a pastor's wife, and so. And I said, "Well, you have no idea what it's like to be a pastor's wife." And
Yeah, roughly, so I'm clear, what date is this? About when was this?
If I had a calendar, I could tell you. It was on a, oh my gosh.
Before or after St. Patrick's Day?
Middle of March.
After.
Be after middle of March.
St. Patrick's Day was a Thursday.
Let me think. Oh. Yeah, it was St. Patty's Day, actually. Because I was wearing green. It was St. Patrick's Day. Yes, it was St. Patrick's Day because his wife came in all green stuff. So it was St. Patrick's Day. That was the day he came in. That's right.
Now, as heated as that got, and as ugly as that got, how'd you end up with that track phone?
You still had the
I
phone?
still had it.
Oh, you still had it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I still
So
had
you
it.
never gave the phone back to Pastor Lee?
No. No,
Okay.
I lied about that.
How long did you have it before that? Because we know when he bought the other track phone.
Right.
So we're trying to put in relation as to what caused him to go out and buy the other one. How long had you had that track phone, the one that you were using?
Well, he bought that one for me, and I honestly cannot remember when he bought that one for me.
Which one are you talking about?
That one.
739?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you haven't had, he bought that back in August of '09.
Yeah, he bought that one, and then he gave it to me just recently.
Yeah, because he was actually calling you with this one
Yes.
for a long time.
Yes.
Okay.
Roughly when did he give you that phone?
Oh my goodness. It was the end. It was either the end of January or the first of February, because it wasn't too long after we got back from our trip.
So when you first get this phone, what number is he calling you from?
Well, it always shows up private, so I don't know. Every time he called me, it showed up private pretty much all the time. Until he bought that other phone. Then
Are you aware when he bought that other phone?
I don't know when he bought it, but he did tell me he bought it because he texted me and told me that this was his new phone.
And you guys are still on decent terms at this point?
Yes. Somewhat, yes.
Okay. Because he bought the phone the day after the blow up in your office.
Really?
March the 18th is when he bought that phone.
Oh,
He bought the phone the day
I
after.
did not know that.
Mm-hmm. So you guys are still somewhat on decent terms, still talking, because the phone records are very clear.
Yeah.
They indicate.
Well, not the best terms, no, because I wasn't really talking to him that much.
Okay. Well.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is that if I was texting him, it was not very nice. I mean, I wasn't
Well,
as nice as
you
know
had
what I'm
that big
saying.
blow up, and you're mad at him. But he decides the very next day, I'm gonna go get a track phone so I can continue to talk to Teresa. And then he texts you and tells you, hey, I got this phone now, so if you need to call me, call this number.
And then not even a week later, they're coming up to the hospital to see you.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting him to come up and see me.
Okay, but there's phone calls from the hospital to the 217, to his track phone.
So you called him?
Yes, I called him because he kept calling my cell phone. He kept calling this cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
and I was tired of it. So, yes, he did call me.
Take what
I'm
we're
sorry,
talking
I just forgot
Take what we're
that.
talking about and see how we're having to drag this out of you and your actions aren't making sense. Because you go back, he gives you this track phone, January, February. You're talking, hold on. You're talking, St. Patrick's Day, there's this big blow up in the office.
Mm-hmm.
He tells your husband that Matt Bruner tries to kiss you. And he's stirring up the pot.
Mm-hmm.
The very next day, he buys this new phone, sends you, I've got this new phone, and you guys are talking. He
Well,
comes and sees you at the hospital, and then it gets real. There's a lot of phone calls after the hospital. You guys are talking even more. That's not behavior that's indicative of somebody who's trying to break it off, somebody who's upset, somebody who is done with all of this.
I never answered his phone calls though.
Okay, that's not what your phone says. There's a lot of phone calls
Okay.
that go to voicemail.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Okay.
but there's also phone calls where you guys are talking.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. But the conversations were not good.
okay, given what you're telling us, this isn't making sense, and then suddenly you get up to about the 28th, and there's a lot of phone calls. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're talking the 29th, the 30th, 31st. He's blowing up the phones. There's a lot of phone calls.
Lots of.
You're checking the 739's voicemail all day long.
Well, yeah, when he leaves a message, I
Okay.
checked him, yes.
There's numerous phone messages that are left. There's text messages sent. There's a lot of phone activity.
Yeah. He was trying to get a hold of me and I didn't want to talk to
And
him.
you're saying, I delete this, but on these servers, there's this great technology that we have of showing this is when it was opened,
Mm-hmm.
this is when it was deleted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not making sense to me looking how when it's opened, it's obviously read, and then at some point later it's deleted. So you know what's being said, and that's what we need you to tell us. We know that you read the text messages.
He's being very vague about the information. Like he said, that particular day was what we're most interested in. But he's like he said, he's blowing up your phone, and text messages are being sent, and voicemails are being left in voicemail boxes. But you know, if you were to look at this whole interview since we've been sitting here, we've actually, as far as that part of it goes, the text messages and voicemails,
Mm-hmm.
we've gotten very little information from you about that. Not a lot of information about the texting.
Tell us about the text messages and the phone calls. Because
Let me try to be as plain as I can. Well, can I go back to the 17th?
sure.
Okay. That night before, his wife finds out about him and I.
How'd she find out?
She found the phone that he went to replace this one with.
She found
Which one?
217?
Yes.
217?
No. What's
Or
that other one?
739? Yeah, it's 217-4363.
No, that's not right. What was his phone number prior to the 217?
That's what I'm.
Oh, I don't know. Prior
Yeah,
to 217?
This one. This one.
He didn't have that on the 17th.
Well, one of these she found.
She found a track phone?
Yes, she found one of his track phones because,
We got two 217 numbers.
yeah.
8314 and 4363.
I said he was buying.
This is the
He was
one.
buying track phones like crazy, and I couldn't keep track of them all.
Where'd he buy them?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I cannot tell you that.
So the 17th, she finds a track phone.
Yeah, she buys a track phone, and so she actually, that's why she's at the office. She wanted to come and confront me about it.
And what did she say to you?
She didn't really say anything. She just come in and said, I'm coming in as a friend, not a pastor's wife,
Mm-hmm.
and then I told her, I said, because I was already upset at him, I got upset at her, and I said, you have no idea what it's like to be a pastor's wife. And she walked out.
Okay.
And that's the last I saw of her.
But this is where it doesn't make sense to me. The 17th, she finds this track phone.
Mhm.
That track
So
phone.
she still keeps it. She still has it.
Okay, but that track phone is calling this other track phone. She doesn't know that other track phone's you.
Yeah, I know.
So how did she put two and two together?
Well, because he told her, because of the texts, where the texts were coming from. He left texts on the cell phone that she found. So, and he told her that it was because of some of the texts that I sent him
What do
about.
those texts say?
One of them said, I am walking Lizzie, and I have a dog named Lizzie, and I'm the only one that has a dog named Lizzie. And I told her, and I said on there that I am wearing, what was I wearing? Oh, I was wearing a Tar Heel sweatshirt, and he likes the Tar Heels. Is that right? Yeah, yeah. So she automatically knew that it was me. And she confronted him about that. And that's how she knew.
Did he tell you that?
Yes.
Did he tell her the whole thing or just a little thing? Did he lie?
No, he told her the whole thing because...
That's been going on for 10 years?
Oh, no, not all that. Just the track phone thing. He just told her...
What was his excuse for you guys having track phones?
That he was counseling me through Randy's time of the internet stuff. Yeah.
And she bought it?
Well, no. No, because it was...
But she comes down there on the 17th to confront you.
Mm-hmm.
But she never gets it out.
No.
So how do you know that she was there to confront you?
Because they called me and left a message on this phone from the church at like 7 o'clock that morning or something, and said that she wanted to meet me at my office.
And she say about what?
He said that she knows everything about the phones and about you and I talking, and she wants to confront you about it. And that's what he said. He left a message because I heard him say in the background, he said, "Would you like to say something to her?" when he was leaving my message.
Almost to let you know that she's standing there. When you
Exactly. Yes.
So why didn't she confront you if that was the purpose of coming down? And
I
why?
don't know.
And why not? I mean, two can play this
Well,
game. Why not? Why didn't she tell Randy what you two have been up to?
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know if she...
Because Randy's, the preacher's sitting there diming you out about Matt in your office. Now she's there and she knows that her husband's been seeing you, and she has a perfect opportunity, since everybody's blowing up anyway,
And
to
then
let that dog out of
Well, you know
and
what?
then to make it even, to even confuse things more, you're saying that about 2 years after you and David started this relationship, Randy became suspicious. And
Yeah.
so he's already suspicious of this, and now he's hearing about Matt Bruner, and he's not pissed. That doesn't make sense.
He told Pastor, he says, well, Teresa and I will continue this conversation after you leave.
Okay, so
And that's what we did.
they leave, and what's said?
With Randy and I,
Mm-hmm.
I told him what happened, and he asked me how come I didn't tell him about this, and I said because I'm scared and I know that you have a bad temper, and I was afraid of what you would do, because I know Matt's a good friend of yours. So he was just real calm about it.
What was the allegation about Goodman? Is it Goodman?
Yeah.
What was that allegation about?
I don't know. I told Randy emailed Pastor and asked him if he would explain it to him, and he never emailed me back.
But what was the the allegation that was
Oh.
made in the office
Oh.
about you and Gilman?
He said that Brother Goodman kissed me.
When would that have happened? Because he lives in Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
When would that kiss supposedly happen?
Well, I mean, we were down there at Christmas time,
Okay.
but I don't know if Brother Goodman called him and said that he gave me a hug and a kiss on the cheek, but he always does that. Unless he felt guilty about that. I mean, I don't see why he would. But
So if investigators down in Kentucky go knock on that door and say, Brother Goodman, what's the deal with this kiss? Because they're gonna talk to him,
mhm.
And he's gonna know that this is a murder investigation and we're not playing games, so he's gonna have to be honest, or he's subject to being prosecuted, and he's gonna be made aware of that. So
what's he gonna say?
is he gonna say there was something more than that? Probably, because I don't think Pastor Love would be talking about this if it was just a kiss on the cheek.
Yeah.
What happened with Brother Goodman?
Well, it's not like it was supposed to happen.
You know?
Sure.
We just gotta know what we're dealing with here.
He just got friendly, and just one thing led to another.
In Kentucky?
Mhm.
This is at Christmas time?
Yeah.
Did you guys have sex?
No, we did not.
What took place?
He kissed me, and do I have to go in detail?
Well, was it like handsy stuff?
Yes, that's all it was.
So he's touching you?
Yes.
All right.
And I was touching him, and
Okay. And you were down there, oh, I guess it was a family trip down there?
Yeah.
Okay.
we went down there to take my son up.
And how do you think Love found out about this?
Because I told him.
You told him?
Yeah, because I felt guilty about it, and I hurt Randy, and I just...
Were you trying to get to David? Were you trying to make him mad or something?
No.
Were you trying to make him jealous?
No.
Was there something like that going on?
No,
Then why would you tell him? Because
because
you've been in this relationship with David for 10 years, and you're telling this guy that's madly in love with you, I made out with John Goodman in Kentucky over Christmas. We got handsy. We touched each other. How do you think he's going to respond to that?
he told me that it made him love me more.
Do you find that reaction weird?
Well, not really, because Randy still loved me no matter what I did. With, Matt, he still loved me no matter what. He told me, Randy told me, he says, I'm going to keep you close to me. And I said, I wish you would. I wish you would keep me closer to you.
It's almost like you don't trust yourself when you're away from Randy.
Isn't that sad? No, it's not that. It's just that because I know how Randy was when we first got married. I still have no self-esteem. He didn't love me when we got married, and he didn't. He would never hold my hand in public. He was never affectionate to me.
Throughout the course of your marriage?
Yeah. Up until probably about 4 or 5 years ago was when we really started getting close again.
What was the turning point?
When I caught him emailing other women on the computer and found out that he was doing pornography and stuff. And I confronted him about it. And I told Pastor about it, and I asked him if he could help me talk to Randy about it, and he did. I mean, he met with Randy every Wednesday. Oh, excuse me. He did. He met with Randy every Wednesday morning, and would talk to him about it, and then he would call me and tell me what they discussed. He would tell me how Randy reacted and stuff
What
like
was
that.
the purpose of calling you and telling you what was discussed? Because a normal pastor wouldn't do that.
No, he did it because he loved me.
Did Randy know that he was giving him briefings on their counseling sessions? Randy never knew?
No.
How do you think Randy would have reacted finding out that you and Pastor Love have been in a sexual relationship?
He probably would have been angry. I see Randy cheated on me though. And I'm not saying that it was right for me to do that either. That Randy cheated on me a couple times, and I couldn't leave him.
But you're not answering my question. How would he have reacted knowing that you've been in a sexual relationship with Pastor Love? Would it have been over?
No. Mm-mm.
So if he found out you've been with Pastor Love for 10 years, he'd still say, my arms are open to you.
Yeah. Because that's just how Randy was.
He was a real Christian, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He really believed, didn't he?
Yeah. He was, even though he had done a lot of bad things, and I could be wrong about that. He might have said that it was over.
And I guess so I'm clear, when is the last time, and I don't want to invade your privacy, but when is the last time that you were with Pastor Love sexually? A day, a week, 2 weeks?
Oh no, it's been well over a month or so.
Okay.
It's been, yeah,
So,
probably a month and a half.
So just a week or so before St. Patty's Day.
That sounds about right.
Was it before
I
St.
guess.
Patty's Day? Before the blow up?
Oh yeah, it was. Oh yeah, it really has been a while.
Where
I
would you
honestly
guys
cannot tell you.
Where would you guys normally meet when you guys were going to be sexually involved?
Well, we never planned it.
Sure.
Yeah.
It just kind of happens. We're like,
And I'm not proud of this, guys.
no.
I'm not proud of this at all.
I know.
Please understand that.
And please understand, we've heard it all too. Okay, we've heard the most. So you're not going to shock us,
No.
or okay?
Because when we were deeply involved, I mean, of course, I would call him when Randy would leave,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and if I knew he was going to be gone for, you know, an hour, then he would come to the office if it was convenient for him, but yet his wife kept a lot of, I mean, it was hard for him too because she would call him a lot.
Keep tabs on
Yeah,
it pretty
mhm.
close.
Exactly.
So we're talking your office,
Yeah.
Farmers,
hmm
your home,
Yes.
his home.
Twice. It was harder there.
In his office at the church?
Yes.
Okay. So wherever it just worked out the best.
Yeah. Isn't that awful?
Well, we're just trying to get, the reason we're asking is we're trying to figure out his state of mind leading up to the time when he bought this phone, okay? We gotta figure out what's going on in his head. And of course, sex and all this kind of plays into it, is what's going on in his head.
I understand.
So, you think about the last time that you guys actually had sex was about a week and a half before St. Patty's Day. Is that what you said?
You know, I honestly cannot remember.
Okay,
It's been a long time.
okay.
I would say pretty close to about a month and a half to 2 months.
Okay, so somewhere between the 1st of March and the first week of March and the second week of March, somewhere in that time frame. And we're not trying to put words in your mouth, we're trying to understand that we have it correct.
Oh my.
What are you thinking?
I'm trying to think here. When I'm trying to think of. It was right before Randy played basketball that one Tuesday night before him and Justin got into it. And this was a week before that happened. So it was probably around the 1st of March. Okay. End of February, 1st of March, something like that, because it was still pretty chilly outside. So,
You don't know where that gun is now? You give any indication to you where he may have taken that gun?
the only thing he told me it was 20 miles away.
20 miles?
What does that mean to you?
I don't know. I don't know where it's at.
Do you know of a place, I mean, you've known him for 10 years, do you know of a place in this area roughly 20 miles away where he might go?
No,
Is he on property somewhere, have relatives, family lives?
have no idea.
Did he say anything about disposing of it in a certain location?
No, he did not.
Well, how did this come up that suddenly the gun's about 20 miles away? That's kind of a random thing to say.
That's just what he told me.
Okay, what had you been talking about that led into
I wasn't talking. He was telling me everything. I was just.
Is this in
there.
your bedroom?
It
Yes.
was in your room,
I was just sitting there. I was crying. I was mad. I was upset. And I wasn't talking to him.
but you didn't ask him about the gun, you didn't ask him. I mean, yeah, I'm like him, trying to figure out, he's blurting this very self-incriminating stuff out to you, as almost as if he's proud of what he's done. And he was trying to impress you or something.
Yeah, he told me.
So we're just trying to figure out,
He told me.
I mean, just how, we're trying to figure out how this all came out of him. If you were asking questions and prompting him
No.
to tell me what happened, or...
Well, you have to understand, that's a huge thing for him to be standing in your home, standing in your bedroom of your deceased husband, and for him to tell you the details that he did about killing your husband.
Knowing that all you had to do was pick up a phone and he'd probably be cuffed up that afternoon and, be carted off to the penitentiary someday. That is a huge leap of faith that he's placed in you. Because killers, you know how killers get caught.
And
They
brainwashed me that
they
he
talk to
would take
people.
care of me. That's what he told me.
Before or after?
All the time. Before,
Mm-hmm.
after. He told me that
So before, when he's talking about
everything
doing this,
would be fine.
he's saying, I'm going to take care of you when this is all done.
No, he never said it like that. He just said that he will take care of me. When we're together, he says, I'll make sure that you're taken care of. And I was like, and I kept telling him, I said, well, we're leaving it in God's hands. He will take care of it if he allows it to happen. And I kept saying that to him over and over and over and over again.
It seems to me like you're not telling this man, no, I'm not going to be with you. It's almost like you're leading him on saying, well, you know, he's making these statements that I can take care of this. I know how to access the gun. Leave it in God's hands. Leave it in God's hands. You're not saying, no, don't do that.
Yes, I said that several times. I
Yeah,
said,
well, we're not hearing
do
that.
not, I told him, I said, don't do anything stupid. Leave it alone. I told him that. I said, don't be stupid. I said, be smart. I said, just leave it alone. God will take care of it. And he seemed to think that Randy was abusing me or something, because he always talked bad about Randy. And sometimes I would tell him when Randy was, you know, not treating me very well or something, but I never.
And that would upset David.
Yeah.
And is that when he would get pissed and make these comments that I can take care of this?
Sometimes, yeah.
Because.
And he kept telling me that it's the warrior in him.
The warrior in David?
That is causing him to do this, or causing him to be like this.
Now, is there a Bible verse that goes with this?
I have no idea. He never told me anything about a Bible verse.
Okay.
Like I told Detective Rosenmore, and he kept telling me that, well, David did this in the Bible, and God still blessed him.
David did what?
He murdered several people.
Okay.
In the Bible. And that God would take care of him. And he still blessed him.
Did you think he's trying to feel you out to see? Because by the sounds of it to me, he's saying, I can take care of this. I know where to get the gun. David killed these people. God, let this go. Is he feeling you out to see if you're okay with this?
I don't know.
What's your gut tell you? You're a very smart woman.
Well, I would tell him, I told him, well, that's back in the Bible days. I mean.
But do you think he's trying to feel you out to see, is she okay with this? And then he's not getting really a reaction from you.
I don't think so. I mean, I didn't feel that at the time. I mean, I didn't.
With your knowledge now of him saying, I shot your husband, and then you look back in retrospect at what he has said to you, what is your impression of those conversations?
That he's trying to figure out how I feel about if he did something like this.
Okay.
Teresa, doesn't sound like a real strong response when he's talking about that. Because when you say, well, God will take care of this if he wants us to be together, and God will leave in his hands and so forth. But that's not like, David, you're out of your mind. You're crazy. I don't ever want to see you again. If anything happens to Randy, then I will turn you in. That's not the kind. That should have been a response that he got.
Yeah.
He didn't get that kind of response. You almost gave him a lukewarm response where, you know what? I don't want you to do this. I think you. But, we're going to leave it in God's hands. If he wants us to be together, God will take care of it.
But you're not telling him no. That's the thing that's the thing I don't understand.
I did.
Okay, but
I never told him. I always told him, I said, David, just leave it alone. I would tell him several times to leave it alone. Leave Randy alone. Everything will be fine. I would tell him that because he would call me and tell me how his night would go with his wife. If she would get mad at him and stuff like that. I don't know if he was wanting me to respond in a way. I just kept saying, oh, I'm sorry.
The day after the murder. Well, let me back up again. The day of the murder, you know what you're walking into when you get to that office.
No,
And
I
you're
really
hoping to
didn't.
God, hold on, and you're hoping to God that's not the case. You go in, there's abnormal responses to you stepping over your dead husband to get the phone. You're going outside, you contact the police, and then you dispose of the track phone. You come up here and you're interviewed, and you're less than truthful. The next day, David Love confesses that he murdered this woman's husband to her. What would you think if you were us? Take all that into consideration. And if there's a reasonable answer to this, tell us. But as I'm sitting here talking to you, more stuff comes out. And then it's going to keep coming out. It's going to keep coming out. This is all done. We're walking out of here. If you're honest, and you just lay out what happened. Okay? We're walking out of here. But we have to keep dragging this out of you. You're a good person. You're a Christian. You know that repenting to all of this, that we can get through all of this. And if it wasn't for this man, I don't know that you'd have all these opportunities. But we're sitting here, and we'll ask you about something, you'll lie. We'll tell you how we know it, and then you admit it. This is the time that we need everything on the table. And if you're unwilling to do that, then maybe we need to go another route.
I am not unwilling. I'm trying to tell you everything. I am. From the bottom of my heart, I am trying to be honest with you as far as everything that I can remember. Please tell me what you want me to tell you.
The truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I have told you the truth.
Okay, but you know how many times we've heard that tonight?
Seems like David, it just seems to me like David, because of what I'm learning about him during this interview, and it just seems like he's the kind of guy who, before he does this crazy thing that he did, all right? Because this is the craziest thing a person can do, is to walk in and shoot another human being, all right? But you told me he said he did that. But it seems like he is the kind of guy who is not going to actually do that, actually do it, unless he feels like he's already been given kind of a green light, kind of a go-ahead. Unless he feels like he's got somebody in his corner that's supporting him in this endeavor. All
I mean,
right?
hell, he's even talking about getting rid of his wife.
Yes, he's told me that.
So he's got, I mean, it just seems like before he actually, I mean, talk is cheap. You can talk all you want about, I think I'm going to do this, but having the guts to actually do it, now that's another thing. And he's got to be very, very confident that it's going to be worth it, that it's going to be paid for, it's going to be paid off. To take another human being life and risk going to prison for the rest of his life, there's got to be a payback. There's got to be a reward. There's got to be what he's wanted all his life, for the last 10 years anyway, and that's you, all to himself. But you don't do that and hope that dream comes true. You don't do something that destructive, and because he's destroying his life too if he gets caught doing this. His whole life is over.
Right.
Probably as of right now, his life is over. His life will never be the same simply because of what you have told us up to this point. But for him to take that chance, something in his mind had to tell him, I'm going to have Teresa. I'm going to have Teresa when this is over. He has to believe that.
Teresa, hold on. You're sitting and you're shaking your head no. Okay? You're sitting here, and the whole time he's talking to you, yeah, because you know it's the truth.
What, about what he's saying about David?
Yeah. You know it's the
Yeah,
truth.
there's some affirmation that he knew it was a done deal. Once Randy was gone, he knew he had you, or it wouldn't be worth the risk. He had to be.
I never, ever gave him inclination about anything.
You know what? I'm going to say this is that you're not being truthful when it's coming to this. And listen to me, and this is why. Because this man is comfortable enough about talking about killing your husband. This man is comfortable enough about talking about killing his wife. He's saying he has motive, means, and opportunity. And then after the fact, he's talking about it before, after the fact, he tells you what he did, and you come in here, and the first thing you say about that letter, I don't know who it would be. And you were hoping and praying that our lab didn't test it and see that that note was a lot newer. And, I want to know what those initials are at the bottom. You don't say you don't know, because he writes this letter. He's not going to write something that
you don't understand. They have to mean something to you.
What does this?
This one I've never understood.
What is HP?
HP means honeymoon in Paris. MEMMT means marry me, Teresa.
Okay. GDB?
I don't know what that means. I don't know what this means.
What about all these? LYP?
I don't know. When he wrote this, he left me a message and told me what all this stuff meant, and I never paid attention to it, except for just a couple of these two here, just those two.
Did y'all ever discuss marriage? If you weren't married, whether you guys would ever be married someday? He says, "Marry me, Teresa."
He did. He discussed it a lot.
And you guys obviously from that had discussed honeymoon in Paris.
That was his.
Is that kind of a dream of going there?
That was his idea, not mine. No, I'm serious. He would talk to me about, and I kept saying, yeah, that'd be nice, and stuff like that. I mean, but I never said, David, yes, I'm going to marry you. I never said that.
But you're also not saying no.
I told David, I said, both of us are married. We are committed to another person. Mm-hmm. We cannot do this. I said that to him several times, over and over again. And several times I tried to break it off with him. And he kept coming back full force on me. I mean, I would ignore his phone calls. I would ignore his texts. And finally I just got tired of it. And I said, David, what do you want? And he said, will you talk to me? And I said, no, I don't want to talk to you. Just leave me alone. And he would just come back at me full force. And he would make me feel bad.
How would he make you feel bad?
Well, he would just say, well, what about all the times that you told me about Brady doing this and Brady doing that? And I would be like, David, I was angry at Randy and Randy was mad at me. And I told you that because I was angry. And, I mean, he did the same thing to me. He would call me and tell me what his wife was doing to him. And just to see what I would say. And I had no response because I didn't think like he did as far as...
Did he ever joke about or talk about how he was going to get rid of his wife?
Yeah.
How?
Well, he never joked about it.
How to talk about it.
Oh my goodness. First time he talked about it is he said that he wished he could just break her neck and put her in her car and send her over a cliff. Let's see. What else did he say? He said one time when they were out on a trip that he thought about rolling his car and trying to make it look like, her neck broke in the rolling of the car or something like that.
How recent were these conversations?
That one about rolling the car, that was last year.
Mm-hmm.
This other one, well, he's mentioned that one a couple of times. Within the last 2-3 months, probably.
When was he going to do this?
Oh, he never told me.
But of course, if he tells you that, then of course the opposite side of the coin is we have to figure out what we're going to do with Randy.
Well,
if you kill her, what we're going to do with Randy? Because they both have to be gone.
Well, I told him, I said, David, you can't do that. I said, that's stupid. I said, why would you want to do that? And that's what I kept telling him. I said, leave it alone.
Did you start to think this was credible a couple months ago when he's talking about killing his wife? He's talking about killing Randy. Did it finally click and you say, I think this guy's serious?
It did.
Did that concern you?
Yeah, a little. But I guess I was just too naive to.
But you're not too naive because you're somewhat playing his heartstrings because you're stringing him along. If you truly wanted to end it, you had the perfect leverage ever to say, you are the pastor of this church. If you keep pursuing me, I will expose what we've been doing. And it would have stopped immediately, wouldn't it have? Yeah?
Probably.
And you didn't do that.
No.
And, I'm sure there's some remorse of, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be involved in this. But it still continued to happen. Let me go grab her. I'm going to grab those phone records real quick. There's
Is my dad still sitting out there?
Yeah. You're going to have to have a talk with him. You're going to have a talk with him. And I said you don't have to tell him everything, but obviously he's going to want to know why this went on so long. And I get it, that's from you and your dad and your parents.
Detective,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not lying to you.
Well, like I said, I don't know what the other side's going to say on this, but
I don't know.
it just seemed like there had to be a point. There had to be a point when David said, "Yes, I can do it," because Teresa believes in this, or Teresa is okay with this, so I can go ahead and I can do this.
I guarantee you,
Was there ever a point when?
it was that last text I sent him, and I told him, I said, "You have messed up my life. Leave me alone."
Oh,
That was
the
the last.
day
That was that day.
on 31st.
Yes, I texted him and I said, that's because he was bugging me so much, and I finally got tired of it, and I just texted him, I said, "You have messed up my life, leave me alone." He texted me back and said, I don't mean to mess up your life, I'm not trying to mess up your life. What else did he say?
Was this after Randy was killed?
No, this is when I was on my way out to my chiropractor appointment.
Okay.
He said, "I'm not trying to mess up your life. He said, I'm trying to make it better." And
On the way to the chiropractor, so that would have been...
I didn't respond.
Between 1:30 and 2?
Yeah, I didn't respond to it.
He had to be at a funeral in Gladstone at 2 o'clock. So how could he be watching you if he's in Gladstone?
I didn't know he had a funeral.
He had a funeral, matter of fact, the visitation started at 1.
I did not know that. All I heard was that he was at an appointment. Hospital. That's all I heard.
It's closer to 5 or 5:30.
I did not give him no gun. I did not give him no implication of him being able to do anything like this to my husband at all.
What do you want to see? What would you like to see happen to David? What do you think should happen to him?
Look, he's got to pay for what he's done.
What's that mean?
I know I've hurt a lot of people. I know I've hurt his wife, and I know I've hurt his kids. And I'm sorry for all that. But I never, ever told him to ever do anything that's stupid.
If he's charged
Never.
and tried and found guilty, what do you think should happen to him? If you were the judge and it was your sole decision, what would be fair?
If he deserves death penalty, then that's what he would get.
But you're the judge, so you have to make the decision. I'm saying, if you are in charge, what in your heart do you feel should happen to him? What is fair to you?
Well, he took my husband's life,
Mm-hmm.
so they should take his.
You think he should be put to death?
I'm just not that cruel, I guess.
That's what I'm trying to get an honest answer from you. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. I want to know what you really believe. What is appropriate punishment for David? In your heart.
To go to prison for the rest of his life.
Teresa, things aren't adding up with what's being said from other people about your knowledge of this prior. As far as him talking about, this is what I want to do, him talking about what he's going to do with his wife, you know, the marry me Teresa and all this other stuff. Okay?
But
I don't want this man who murdered your husband, who took your children's father away from them. Now, before you answer this, remember your daughter crying and asking or writing in her journal, who's going to walk me down the aisle? He took all this away from them. How does it get to this point, and then after the fact, you lie to us, you don't tell Detective Rosewarren that this man's confessed to murdering your husband? Because I understand you still have feelings for him. Okay, that's clear. Okay, you have to. Because for you not to call the police after this man confesses to you that he put a bullet in your husband's head and took him from your children, there has to be feelings there. There has to be plans afterwards. do you not think that here down the road, whenever he gets rid of his wife, that even if this would have passed and this goes unsolved, that Detective Rosewarne wouldn't have been able to put 2 and 2 together? Because you guys were very careful about using track phones, and you had pretty good discipline on the phone. You communicated with him.
Use voicemail instead of talking directly to each other a lot of times. I mean, all that stuff just shows evasion, it shows covertness, trying to be covert, trying to be slick.
Calls to the office in the morning where you talk for 10, 15 minutes. And, you know,
Well,
I have gone over.
I mean, because he knew that Randy wasn't there. That's why he called me.
Well, we figured that part of out. It's what you guys were talking about. Is what is the question. It's not.
We did not. I never once talked to him about anything like this, ever. And when he would, I just kept telling him, it's stupid.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Okay, but until a little bit ago, and I'm being honest with you, until a little bit ago when I said, you never told him no. And the next thing out of your mouth was, oh, I did. I just, you know, you hadn't been saying that for the last several hours. Okay?
I did. I told Detective Rosenborn. I told him. I said,
this is in God's hands. That's
yes.
what you said.
Yeah, this is in God's hands. Leave it alone. You have no control over it, so leave it alone.
Okay. And what does he refer to in there about control?
That he's not in control of things
Keep reading.
yet.
Yet. He's telling you he's going to take control. He's going to take control.
And
like I said, we know this.
I didn't get that from that.
Okay.
I mean, seriously.
When was that note? Because I'm not clear on that.
We know this wasn't 3 years old.
No, I told you that. I told you
When did you tell me you got that?
it was for my birthday last year. Not this past year, but a year
So
ago,
it's about
December.
14 months old.
Yes.
15 months old.
Yes.
Did David know about any did you ever discuss your life insurance policies or the one that Randy had? Was he aware? What do you know about Randy's life insurance policy?
What do I know about it?
What do you know about it?
Well, I didn't really know much about anything until my district manager told me.
What's he told you?
I have one policy that it was a group life policy from Farmers.
Okay.
And then the other ones are going to the kids.
How much is the group policy?
It's $100,000.
And Michael? How much was for Michael?
$275, I guess.
Closer to 500?
Well, that's the whole amount, yes.
That's what
But
I'm
it's
asking.
split up between the two kids.
Okay, so Miranda's scheduled to get about half of that?
Yeah.
Did the pastor know anything about this money?
Not that I know of.
You ever talked to him about it?
No. I mean, Randy always used to tell everybody that, you know, he always made sure that he had plenty of life insurance because because of what happened to his dad, because he left his mom in financial bind, that he was not going to allow that to happen to us.
Well, because I know that, like I said, the pastor, it sounds like he's trying to get you for himself, but he's also trying to build this massive church complex out there. I mean, do you think money played a part in this as well? Because he may have thought that if Randy died unexpectedly, that might be a windfall for the church. Did that ever come up in the conversations?
It might have a few times, but I never told him. He just always told me that, well, you know, Randy said that he has plenty of life insurance. I'm like, well, yeah, but I don't know how much that is. I don't know how much Randy had. All I did was pay for the life insurance money, or pay for it. I really never knew exactly how much Randy ever had. That's why Robert took care of that for me, because I didn't know how much he had. I had no idea.
You
I
could
knew
find
he
out with
had.
a phone call, or you could even ask Randy.
Well, yeah.
And if David would like to know, I mean, it wouldn't be hard for you to figure out.
If Randy ever, and I asked Randy. I asked him one time. I said, no, I didn't ask him. My parents asked him how much life insurance that he had, and he always said he never would give an amount. He always said that he just had plenty of life insurance money. That's all he said. And I know Pastor knows that, because at one time Randy and Pastor were really close, and Randy shared everything with Pastor.
Mm-hmm.
He shared everything with him. But as far as David and I talking about the life insurance money,
It's kind of one-sided, him talking to you about it.
I never said anything to him about it.
Do you think he was planning on possibly using some of this to help kickstart that out there? There's a reason we're asking.
I don't think so. I mean, I wouldn't think.
Did he ever talk about how he could use some of that money to help kickstart this big project out there?
No, he never mentioned anything to me about that.
How is he going to get all that money?
He ain't getting no money.
Now, how is the church going to get all this money for all this land out there, for all these buildings?
Oh, church members tithing towards it and
There's
stuff.
only like 250 members. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a big project out there. It's
I know.
going to take forever to raise that much money.
I know.
A congregation your size.
That's why he would come up with like $1,000 clubs.
Okay.
He was trying to come up with, he would always make statements of, if we had so many people give $10,000, we could have it paid off, or, you know, something like that. But he never inclined it to me about anything.
Let me ask you a very pointed question. I need you to be honest about this. After Randy's murder, did you ever see that Glock handgun?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay.
And that is the truth from the bottom of my heart.
It still confuses me as to why you were so protective over Michael looking under that bed. Did you move the handgun, the box, from
No,
under the bed?
no.
And why were you so adamant about steering him away from this? I've worked with these others, so has Detective Rosewarne. He's worked with those detectives a long time.
Yeah.
And their guts don't lie to them. There was a reason you did that.
Well, because there was a gun under the bed. And I don't know how the law is as far as guns being in the house, because I don't like them.
Were you afraid the murder weapon was going to be found in your house that day?
No. Nope.
Okay, but that doesn't make sense. You said that Randy kept 2 guns under the bed.
No, he only kept one. The only one that I saw under the bed was the one that I thought was under there.
Okay, so what did you do with the gun when they went down to the basement?
I didn't do anything with it. Michael took it.
Okay.
He took a gun from upstairs, downstairs?
No.
Did you look under the bed after Michael and the detectives left the room? Did you get under the bed to see what was under there?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you see?
Nothing. There was nothing under there. I was expecting to see the gun
Did
under
you
there.
go to your closet to see what might be in your closet?
No, I did not.
So after you looked under the bed, you didn't do anything else? You just waited for their return when
Yeah.
it came back up?
Mm-hmm.
But what doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that. And
I
I'm
don't.
slow sometimes.
I don't
so-
know what to. No, you're not. I don't know what to tell you.
What were you concerned about being under the bed?
There's
That-
guns in that house.
That 9mm.
Why would you be concerned about that being under the bed?
Well, because I didn't know if I would get in trouble for having it under the bed. Because that I don't have a concealed carry. I don't know the laws about guns.
Okay, but how long has the gun been under the bed? Years.
Yes.
Okay. It's never a concern before.
No.
But now the police are standing in your house because your husband's been murdered, and Michael's wanting to look under the bed, and you're pretty obvious. No, go look in the basement because you do not want them looking under that bed at that moment.
I didn't know where they were gonna go. I didn't say anything. I just looked at Michael and I was like, because I didn't want Michael to get in trouble if he found a gun under the bed.
Why would Michael get in trouble for finding a gun?
He's helping the police.
I know, but I don't know the rules about
Teresa.
guns.
Teresa, listen. There's a reason we're asking about this.
I know that, and I'm
Okay.
trying to be honest and truthful with you.
Okay.
I really
And
am.
your
Seriously.
response isn't making sense, though.
I'm being honest with you. I did not know if that gun was still under there or not. And when I looked under there, it wasn't. Michael told me after they left that he had taken it and put it in his room the night before. I did not know that. He did not tell me that until that night. So that's why I was wondering where it went. Because I know it's always been there. So when he did not bring a gun out from underneath the bed, I was concerned about where it was at.
So would your fingerprints be on the Glock box that was found in the closet?
Probably not. Maybe, I don't know, because Michael found it underneath my clothes, and there's other stuff under there like games and backpacks and stuff like that under there. And my clothes hang down low, so I can't see what's under there, so I'll move the clothes, or sometimes I'll just feel under there, so it might be on there. I'm just being honest with you.
I think Michael said he was home for Christmas, right?
Yes.
I think he said he saw that Glock around Christmas time.
Did he?
His earliest Christmas.
I don't know.
Or his latest Christmas, I guess.
I don't know. That I could not tell you because I was never around them. They cleaned the guns in our bedroom, and Miranda and I, when we walked in and we saw them, we walked right back out.
Why are you so scared of guns?
I just don't like them. I never have liked them. Because of Randy being in the military and all the guns and stuff that he has handled, I know he's good with them, but I just don't like them. I never have liked them. They scare me. When
Didn't you go shooting with them, though?
I did, and I was scared to death.
Were you?
Yes, I was.
What did you shoot? Which gun?
You know, I honestly can't even tell you. I think it was the 9mm. I honestly cannot tell you.
Okay.
I've only shot a gun once, and that was the only time I ever shot a gun. I honestly don't know.
And so, I guess I just don't understand why you would be concerned about Michael helping the police find a gun.
I wasn't concerned about Michael helping the police at all. I wasn't concerned about that
But
at
you
all.
thought he would be in trouble.
Exactly.
Why?
Or I would be in trouble
Why
for a
would you
gun
be in
being...
trouble for...
I'm just telling you, I don't know how all this stuff works. I don't know what the rules are about having a gun in your house. Randy's the one that dealt with all that stuff, not me. So I just thought if they found that they would question me about why there was a gun under the bed. And it was on Randy's side. It's always been there because that's where he puts it. That's what he used one night when our alarm went off in our house at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's the gun that he picked up. And it just scared me.